On Sunday in the women's semifinal, Ohio State used a sustained effort, offense and defense, to pound their way through into the championship game over Washington. While Oregon, with a dashing effort in a dogfight against Central Florida, Fugue moving on in an overtime victory. And it was Sophie Darch who pulled it off for Oregon in the end. Today, the women's national championship game. It's Oregon and Ohio State next. USA Ultimate is proud to present the 2014 USA Ultimate College National Championship. And this is the women's championship game between Oregon and Ohio State, live from Mason High School Stadium in Mason, Ohio. A look at how we got here in the women's bracket yesterday. Ohio State, a semifinal win over Washington, 15-9. Oregon with the overtime victory over Central Florida, 15-14. And now the championship game. And alongside Evan Lepler, I'm Wayne Randazzo. And Evan, these two teams battle for the title here today.
I think this is the game that everybody wanted to see. The women's season has really been about Ohio State and Oregon. They met one time at the Northwest Challenge. Ohio State really surprised Oregon, winning 15-11 in their region. You know, through the last decade, women's ultimate has been the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest. Teams like Washington and Oregon and Stanford, UC Santa Barbara winning. Ohio State is trying to change that storyline, trying to do it at home and trying to dethrone the defending champs. Tons of storylines today.
And Oregon trying to win their second straight championship, their third since 2010.
This Oregon team, coached by Lou Burris, one of the most eccentric guys in Ultimate. He was a great player for Sockeye. He's a sharp-dressed man, too, with those green pants. Oregon, really deep, really interesting the way they play. They love chaos. They love adventure, like last night's Universe Point win over Central Florida. But Sophie Darch finished third in the Callahan voting. She is the leader of this team. Crafty throws, but also huge forehand, deep shots. She's got a lot of targets. She's an incredible leader, and this was the winning score yesterday on Universe Point. Beyond belief, Oregon back in the finals.
And Ohio State trying to win a championship. They haven't lost a match since January. Just need to keep that streak going one more time.
This winning streak that Ohio State's been on is incredible. Their head coach, Deanna Ball, a former Poufall winner, is one of the great spirited players in the women's club scene. Ohio State led yesterday by Paige Diddy-Soper. She was the star of the show, but Cassie Swafford, the 2014 Callahan Award winner, and I was really happy she won the award. Very deserved. She does it all for this team in terms of throws, catches, leadership, and she is basically the emotional foundation for why this team is so good. As a senior, as a leader, the cherry on top of the cake, though, would be the national championship, and she seeks the glory today.
Swafford and the Fever trying to win in their home state here in Mason, Ohio. And we'll have the championship game coming up in just a moment. Oregon against Ohio State, and it's next. The USA Ultimate College Championships are presented by the Discraft Ultrastar, official disc of USA Ultimate. Ask your retailer for Discraft Ultrastar. The Triple Crown Tour, America's most competitive and prestigious series of ultimate tournaments. The US Open Ultimate Championships and Convention, a gathering of the international ultimate community to celebrate character, community, and competition this July 4th weekend in the Twin Cities. And by USA Ultimate, the national governing body for the sport of ultimate in the United States. To learn more about Ultimate or find out where to play in your area, visit usaultimate.org. Oregon trying to win its second straight championship, and here's how they'll line up today in the championship game. Lily Hurd, Alex Odie, Olivia Bartriff, and Adie Bovey, their cutters. Ashley Young, Sophie Darch, and Haley Walrus, the handlers for Lou Burris, as Fugue tries to win again. For Ohio State, Stevie Miller, Katie Backus, Lauren Frankie, and Liz Gates. Paige Soper had a big day yesterday. Caitlin Harley, and the Callahan Award winner, Cassie Swafford, for Coach Deanna Bull. Ohio State on their home state trying to win the title, and here's some of the rules of Ultimate. First team to 15 wins, 7 players on each side. Halftime is the first team to 8. Player may not run with the disc, they have to pass within 10 seconds. We see Fugue trying to win their third championship. Ohio State trying to win their first here today.
I think regardless what result transpires, it'll be pretty epic. You know, for Oregon, it would be 2 straight national titles, 3 in 5 years for Lou Burris. And for Ohio State, a 41-game winning streak. Since a loss on January 19th to Central Florida, Ohio State has been perfect.
The poll in the women's championship game is underway here in Ohio. Fugue in yellow with possession. Sophie Darch, the handler for Oregon. Now Alex Odie looks to get rid of it and does, finding Darch. Lily Hurd runs the middle as Oregon swings it out. They always try to find Darch. She's the point guard in this Oregon offense. And our first stoppage of the day, as this is a self-officiated game. Ashley Young calling for a foul there, and the observers with Julie Morris, Greg Connolly, Keith Temple, and Hank Carey down on the field. They step in to mediate the foul calls. Young being forced from the side, and now swings it out, looking for the first point of the day, but it's not going to happen as Ohio State backs it away. Lauren Franke with the D.
Lauren Franke may have gotten away with a little push-off there, but she used her height, 5'10", to go up and swat that thing away.
And now Oregon gets it right back. Alex Odie able to knock it away. Short yardage situation for Fugue, and they can't score. It's Franke again.
Tremendous transition defense from Ohio State. Oregon's MO is we like to get it and go, especially off turnovers. They love their transition offense in Ohio State. Aware that time, they got a great mark on Sophie Darch, forced her to take her time, and then cut off the break side. Beautiful defense by Franke and the entire Ohio State team.
Cassie Swafford passing into traffic. Darch picked it off, and Oregon's on the board first. Ashley Young gets the goal to put Fugue on top.
Some really good defense from both teams on this point. That's a poach from Sophie Darch, reading the eyes of Cassie Swafford, just like a free safety would in the NFL. And then the quick counter. This is Fugue's comfort zone right here. Haley Walrus, just a freshman from Eugene. I think Fugue has been looking forward to get Walrus on the roster for a while. And there's Darch. This is her 4th trip to nationals as a freshman. They lost in the semifinals as a sophomore. She lost to Washington in the finals in 2012. And last year, they took down Carlton Syzygy to get Sophie in the winner's circle for the first time, and she's trying to cap her career with a 2nd straight win at nationals. There's the green bow tie for Lou Burris.
Perfectly starched collar. Years of practice. He told us yesterday on how to get that collar just like that.
And he has a really introspective approach. You know, he puts a lot of responsibility on the backs of his players, but he's just a great guide and role model. And asking him about the loss to Ohio State back in March, he said after that game, you know, part of being really committed is looking at the part of you as an individual that's the weakest and confronting it. And he said that individually and collectively, everybody on Oregon did that after that game. So it's a different Oregon team today than the squad that lost to Ohio State and Seattle a couple months ago.
They try to swing it back to Swafford. Callahan Award winner in 2014, Cassie Swafford, given that award yesterday.
Shelly Cohen of North Carolina finished 2nd. Sophie Darch of Oregon finishing 3rd in the voting.
Swafford slings it ahead to Stevie Miller, and now Ohio State starts to push. Paige Soper was huge for them yesterday. That's Soper with it now. Soper looking for an opening, lofts it toward the goal line. And now Fever a throw away from getting on the board. And there it is to Soper. First point for Ohio State.
Well, if you saw the semi yesterday, you know how important Paige Soper is to Ohio State's cause. She's already graduated, she's taking some graduate classes, and she's also working full-time, and not an easy job. She's a full-time ICU nurse. Very busy young gal, and a very talented player. Now, she started at Ohio State on the triathlon club, and then smartly, I think, converted to Ultimate when she realized that it was much more fun, much more of a team payoff. And a nice little upline strike cut from Soper. She was a human nutrition major, now working as a nurse, also taking classes, also being one of the best Ultimate players in the country in her spare time for head coach Deanna Ball.
Now Oregon will take over possession after the pull. Oregon, the defending champion. They were also the runner-up in 2012. For Ohio State, a program on the rise. Fourth straight year in nationals, and they've done better each year. Trying to do the absolute best this year. That pull was in the air for about 20 minutes, finally drops down to the ground. A high pull, and it is a pretty windy day.
Yeah, this is a downwind point for Oregon. So far, both goals have been scored downwind.
Sophie Darch looking for the point, going deep into the corner for Bovey. And Bovey pulls it down, but she is out of bounds. And no point for Oregon. Ohio State will get it back.
Not sure this throw was intended for Bovey, but it just kept sailing. She had a play on the disc, but did not realize exactly how close to the sideline she was. That had potential for a greatest if she was a little more alert of her surroundings. Here's a deep shot from Soper.
Down the sideline, Soper can't get it to connect. As the disc falls flat, and Oregon will pick it up from there. We've seen the teams take some chances early on.
I don't care that that was D'd up. That was a nasty upwind flick huck.
And now Darch turns it over. Ohio State looking for the sideline toss, and it works to Elaine Wetley. Now Wetley being forced from the front, back to Swafford she goes. Swafford had a couple of assists yesterday, looking for one here, and Ohio State gets back on the board. Stevie Miller with the goal for Fever.
Well, Darch with a couple turnovers in the early going. The disc intercepted by Frankie. She's been everywhere so far. And then Swafford, the deep shot for Wetley. No stall count. She could afford to be patient and found Stevie Miller. Miller had an unbelievable game yesterday for Ohio State. A junior, started on the Fever squad as a sophomore. Swafford picks up the assist. And Stevie Miller, might be one of the future leaders of this team. Been groomed all season long to take on a much bigger role. Deanna Ball said that a year ago she was sort of on the high end of rookie playing time, and Miller's been everywhere on the field this weekend. A tweener, she can handle, and yet she can also cut, as most elite players are versatile. And that was a break, an upwind break. Clearly this wind, which is blowing fairly, halting Ohio State's deep game.
The pull from Jenna Galetta as it curves back to stay in bounds. How do you feel these two teams have approached this championship game so far?
Well, so far Ohio State up a break. Ohio State, both teams were pretty loose before the game, I thought. Ohio State had a customary dance party in the locker room. Deanna Ball said that's pretty typical. There was one game earlier this weekend when the team just wasn't feeling great. Deanna Ball could sense it. One of the players suggested they have a dance party, so they just start blasting the music, and that's sort of a mental edge. It shows the opponent that, hey, we're loose, we're just having fun, and we're still going to beat you.
A chance to score here. Paige Soper after a turnover. Looking for an opening at the goal line. Soper forces one in. Ohio State scores. Cassie Swafford gets the goal.
Ohio State, the top seed coming into nationals, and a big part of that is the chemistry between its two best players. Oregon's taking a timeout after this score. The stall count rising. Darch an active mark. Soper makes eye contact with Cassie Swafford near the end zone. Paige is going to get the disc back here, and eventually she's going to make eye contact with the Callahan Award winner. And at that point, that's basically just innate teamwork. Here we go. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. I see you, you see me. I know what you like. I'm putting the disc to space, and you're going to take it in. Ohio State 3 for 3 in the red zone thus far. Cassie Swafford, the first ever Callahan Award winner for Ohio State. The award has been given out just 19 times in the women's division since 1996, so she joins a pretty elite club of stars. And her growth as a player has really coincided and correlated, obviously, with Ohio State's growth as a team.
Last year's winner, Claire Chastain out of UNC Wilmington. Paula Seville before that at Michigan. And Swafford, the Callahan Award winner. But you mentioned that Callahan Award doesn't always associate with national championships. It could today.
Yeah, it absolutely could. And this Ohio State team has gained confidence. Unlike Central Florida, whom Oregon beat yesterday, Central Florida, was up front about their goal at the start of the season back in the fall. We want to win the national championship. Ohio State never really put their season in that context because they never have been in this spot before. Deanna Ball told me that when they went out to the Northwest Challenge, she thought it would be great experience. She thought it would be great exposure and a great opportunity to figure out how they stacked up. But she said, I thought there was a chance we could go 0-7. They end up going 7-0 and take over the #1 ranking after that tremendous weekend in Seattle.
And now Oregon down 2. How does that change their approach?
Well, Oregon needs to keep its game plan here.
They huck it deep.
The game plan is to huck it deep. But Walrus overshooting Darch. Yesterday Oregon started a little slow as well against Central Florida, and the Fugue got going again with some deep shots to Darch. Sort of an unexpected thing. You expect her to be handling the disc, then she takes off and can catch a defense off guard.
Now defensively, Oregon needs to step up here. Don't want to go down by 3. We saw 3-goal deficits in the semifinal round yesterday be awfully hard to come back from. But a turnover on a low throw. Now Oregon can take over from there. Ashley Young. Dump it back, but instead goes forward to Walrus. Fugue in the red zone. Darch looking for a goal. Gets it to Ashley Young. That's 2 for Young, and Oregon down just 1 now.
Ashley Young, one of the seniors who plans to come back for a 5th year. That's good news for Lou Burris. It starts with a turnover, basically just a turf throw from Katie Backus. And Oregon doesn't wait to, set up downfield. Walrus so calm with the disc, and then Darch picks up the assist to Young. I think Lou Burris will forever be confident in his team because of its collective toughness. He said that yesterday was such an unbelievably courageous win against Central Florida. So many different things back and forth. You don't get that type of courage and that type of victory by being soft. I think Oregon has a fortitude to it that has made them a perennial contender. How do you become a perennial contender? You recruit good players, you get a lot of players who have played in high school, and you also need some luck. Lou Burris was telling me a story of regionals, I believe in 2008, Northwest. It was the game to go against Stanford, but they basically realized that this would be the game to decide who's going to nationals. They're down 11-7 against a really strong Stanford team, tie it up 12-12. Stanford has the disc, deep shot to the end zone. 2 Stanford players are there. They both catch it and then strip each other, and it drops. And then Oregon goes 70 yards to score and advance and go to nationals. That type of play is luck. You know, that you just need some breaks sometime, but mostly luck meets preparation, and Oregon is prepared as anybody in the country.
Oregon seems to be picking up the pressure on defense, and they force an errant throw. And now Swafford tipped that disc, but it was kept alive by Oregon. Fontenot goes down to maintain possession and then flings it away, so Ohio State gets the disc back after a pretty spirited back and forth there. But Fugue defensively, led by Fontenot, forcing some bad throws and playing some heavy defense.
Yeah, Oregon, you know, they're a team that typically run and gun. They're going to throw it away a bunch. Usually they're good enough defensively and offensively to overcome it.
Soper with the jump toss.
When you're playing a team that has a gal like Paige Soper with that scuba, not quite as easy to count your chickens.
Gates moving it forward to Schroeder. Ohio State with another red zone chance. 3 for 3 on their red zone opportunities so far. Caitlin Harley jammed. Slings it ahead, now Gates. Inching it forward, Fever looking for the goal. Go back, Harley. Inside the goal line to Lauren Frankie.
At times during the season, Deanna Ball, the head coach of Ohio State, would be on one sideline, and her assistant coaches, Brent Reeb and Nick Hamilton, would be on the other sideline. And after a point, they would look at each other and sort of go, okay, I didn't realize we could do that. This is a possession that makes the coaches feel really good. They were calm and patient near the end zone and just kept taking the sure thing. Deanna Ball, a cancer survivor. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2006, went through treatment and surgery, and then a little over a year later in 2007 won the Pufal Award, given to the most spirited top player at Women's Club Nationals. Certainly one of the highlights of her life in Ultimate, not just because she won the prestigious award, but in the aftermath of everything she went through. Started playing Ultimate with the guys at Purdue in the early 90s. There was no women's team then. Played at Club Nationals a bunch. And you know, a board member for USA Ultimate, one of the great leaders of women's Ultimate in our sport.
Now trying to lead Fever to its first championship.
She's in her 8th year coaching the squad. And she said the big key for Ohio State was trying to limit Oregon's quick disc movement. I think so far they've done a nice job of that. You know, staying tight on the handlers. And that's a first throw giveaway.
A diving attempt by Walrus, but Darch's throw slid away. And now Ohio State can go up 3, which would be their biggest lead yet. They've had 4 different players score their goals, 4 different handlers with assists. And Swafford pitching it toward the end zone. Batted away by Odie. And Oregon gets a big stop.
Wayne, it's early, but this could be a game-saving D. You know, great recovery by Odie. Backus initially open. The throw could have been a little deeper. That would have been another upwind break for Ohio State. Foul called here.
The freshman Engstad Lido pleading her case on the foul. Again, it is a self-officiated game to an extent. If after a little bit of discussion here they can't agree, The observers will jump in, and here they come.
Okay. So I'm going to rule on that. It is a strip, so it's a foul. It's going to be your disc here, coming in at 1.
Angstad Lito, a member of the U19 national team. She'll play for Washington coach Kyle Weisbrod, who's leading that bunch. If she stopped the rotation in her hands and then the disc was knocked out of her hands, that's a strip and that's a foul, and it looks like that's what the observer decided.
Now
Deep shot
Ashley
for
Young
Bovee.
looking for the point to Bodie, and it goes to the ground. The defense there from Jenna Galetta. The pressure from Walrus, and now Cassie Swafford will settle in. Give Swafford some room to throw. Side force there from Bovee, but not too intense on Swafford. Fugue, time and time again, they've gotten the stops when they've needed it. Walrus slapping that one away, but can't do that.
No contest on the foul. You know, it always reminds me how cool this sport is when even in the national championship game, there's still great spirit, still great sportsmanship.
Right at the goal line, the catch made by Wetley. Now waiting for her teammates to come up. As we get a stoppage here back near the throw.
4. Okay. So you'll be your disc here. Count will be 1. They're taking a sub.
And into the
Ohio
game right
State,
now
you
for
gonna kick
Oregon
one?
comes Jessie Schaffner. As we take a look at the observers quickly, they can only make rulings
Ohio
on
State.
infractions called by
Everyone
players.
good? No one wants to sub?
Again, it's really their job to solve disputes. But as Schaffner runs onto the field, that's significant because she suffered what looked to be a major injury yesterday, falling very hard on the sideline on a diving attempt. Busted up her hip and her thigh pretty well. She didn't come back into the semifinal yesterday, but Schaffner is gutsy as they come back on the field today.
She was in tremendous pain. It was diagnosed as a sports hernia or a torn oblique, which I'm told are basically the same thing. Lou Burris said if this was the NFL, she'd be called doubtful. If it was the NBA, she'd be day-to-day. But, you know, this is the national championship game, and she's an incredibly tough gal.
Fever sending it back. They started this on the goal line after the stoppage. Trying to find the opening is Cassie Swafford. The flick to Galetta. It's Schaffner on top of her, and Schaffner forces a sliding throw. But it looks like they're going to call a foul and send it back as Schaffner may have made contact with Galetta.
Fast counting, Oregon. Fast counting.
Team misconduct foul, a blue card given to Oregon for the fast count.
Gotta say Mississippi.
Okay, so foul, no contest.
Gotta pretend there's enough time to
Oh, you
say
are contesting or
Mississippi.
coming to me?
Never actually
Okay.
played multimate
Calls
where.
foul, observer upholds the foul, counts it 1. Wait. Every set? Okay.
Never actually seen anybody count Mississippi, but the rule is you have to say the word stalling and then 1, 2, 3.
Swafford with the catch. Fever looking for a 3-goal lead. Galetta has it.
Jenna Galetta, a quiet leader for the Fever. She played high school not far from here, Lakota West High in Ohio. And someone who's probably a future captain of this team. And a very key player for the Fever right now.
First team to 8 sends the game to halftime. And it's been a good first half for Ohio State. 5 for 5 in the red zone early on, and Evan looking a lot like they did in their win against Washington yesterday.
Ohio State, the #1 ranked team. They've won 40 in a row, and it's because of their tremendous efficiency. You know, they just don't get rattled. They have great confidence in one another, and it doesn't hurt to have the home fan support either, does it?
Ohio State won Pool A. They were 4-0. They beat Carleton in the quarterfinals, Washington in the semis yesterday. Their closest game was Michigan, 15-10. They've all been settled by 5 goals or more. Ohio State has been virtually unchallenged throughout this tournament.
And really throughout the season, Wayne, you know, the closest game, 15-10, that's the closest game they've had since they beat Oregon in March, and that was 15-11. You know, there really haven't been too many close calls for Fever.
Schaffner touching the disc for the first time. Playing through the pain today, and a drop by Alex Odie.
It's amazing sometimes how drops are contagious.
Soper with the backhand to Lauren Frankie. Now Fever with an opportunity to go up 4. Galetta swinging it out. Schroeder feeds Soper. Soper, a terrific handler, had a big day yesterday, especially in the first half against Washington. Now Soper looking for the end zone. Tossing it up, that Frankie's way in. A very good play by Bartruff to cut in front and make sure that goal didn't happen. Now a huck. And Oregon almost had it. Casey Harris wants a foul. She felt she was interrupted over the top. The defensive attempt from Caitlin Harley.
Number 9, Oregon. Gotta slow that.
What do you think?
You're fast counting really bad. Gotta slow that stall count down. Fast count.
Okay, so it's contested right now, but you want a ruling? You want a ruling, though. You don't just want to leave it as contested and send it back. Yeah, okay. Foul was called. It's my ruling. It is a foul. It's going to be your disc here at 1.
A big break for Oregon at the spot of the foul, right on the goal line. Harley ruled to have fouled Harris.
That was
You agree?
Unbelievable backhand huck from Jesse Schaffner. Yeah, it looked like there was contact over the back, even though it was a nice play. Behind the play, observer gave another blue card TMF to Oregon for a fast count. So that's 2 TMFs in the first 8 points. That's a big upwind score for Fugue.
Olivia Bartruff gets the goal for Oregon, and after the penalty, the Ohio State fans didn't seem to be enjoying that, but Fugue draws within 2.
Yeah, there's the left arm on the shoulder, without a doubt. That's a great angle from our crew. Little push pass for the score. You see Bethany Kaler on the scooter. Cincinnati born and bred, went to Oregon. World's caliber player. And she broke her foot. Look at that spirit. You know, it has to be killing her not to be able to play. You know, without her and with Jesse Schaffner not 100%, it's going to be really tough for Oregon. We'll see whether or not Schaffner has a lot left in the tank. Kaler, a key player to last year's championship team. Played at Junior Worlds.
She's out of Ursuline Academy in Cincinnati, not too far from here. They come to you from Mason High School, just outside of Cincinnati, about 30 miles away. And Ohio State, a virtual home game. Columbus, not too far from here either. Everybody in the Buckeye State backs the Buckeyes, certainly, and now Fever trying to win their first championship. Swaffer looks end zone, has it to Liz Gates.
Bethany Kaler's a hometown girl, but not quite so hometown as Liz Gates, who's actually from right here in Mason. And Swafford, just enough float on this. Another beat or two, and Rachel Hershey would have had a play on the disc. But Gates did a nice job attacking it.
Three assists now for Swafford. The Callahan Award winner has held her pace today. And Ohio State, 2 goals from sending this championship game to halftime. For Oregon, a 3-goal deficit. What needs to change for Lou Burris' team?
Well, it's going to sound really basic, but they've had some unforced turnovers and some drops. And, you know, it's tough because Oregon's a team that plays much better from ahead. And probably similar to the Chip Kelly football teams that, you know, they were high flying when they were up 21-0 8 minutes into the game and running plays every 10 seconds. But if you're going fast, it's like running the no huddle in football. If you run 3 plays in 30 seconds, but they're 3 incompletions and you go 3 and out, it might be time to settle things down a little bit and try to work a little more methodically.
Ohio State, as they did yesterday, 6 different players with goals. They spread it out. You never quite know who's going to be the one to score them. Sophie Darch looks to make something happen for Oregon.
Well, Darch has basically seen everything in Ultimate. Started playing on the playground at recess, went over to the soccer girls, and then saw the girls playing Frisbee, and she learned how to throw. And Michael Baccarini, the longtime coach at Paideia in Atlanta, helped create some competitive playing opportunities. And you know, she was 12, 13 years old playing mixed club. Played basketball as well through high school, but had to choose whether to play soccer or Ultimate. And at the start of her freshman year, she said that she just had more of a desire to play Ultimate.
Lauren Frankie after the turnover. And Ohio State gets it back, looking for their biggest lead yet. That one past Soper, able to go get it. Soper patient as she flicks it forward. Stevie Miller thinking about the deep throw, tosses it way back. Good positioning by Oregon. And it was Bartruff with the interception.
Bartruff has made some really game-saving plays defensively.
She boxed out very well on that. Now Fugue gets back near the red zone. Walrus with the toss. And she finds her target. It's Bovee with the goal for Oregon.
We talked about Deanna Ball being a cancer survivor. So's 80 Bodie. Bovee diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma last September. So since she won a national championship, she has been diagnosed and beaten cancer. Finished her treatment in February. And if you've watched any of the pool play games or bracket games this weekend, Bovee has been in an athletic league of her own. I mean, she made a layout in Oregon's win over Stanford that was just silly. And she's continued to make ridiculous plays throughout the weekend.
Bovee scored many goals for Oregon throughout this weekend. Had a few in the game yesterday in the semifinal. While Walrus gets the assist there, the freshman has 3 in the game. Bovee with 18 goals this weekend.
Just her second year on the team. She started collegiately at Vermont. She's from the Eugene area, then came back home. And even though this is her second year, Lou Burris expects it to be her last year with the team. Oregon running through pool play, undefeated. Fugue was tested a little bit though, especially in that quarterfinal game. Alika Johnston led Virginia's Hydra nearly to what would have been a tremendous upset. You know, the defending champs on the men's side, Pittsburgh, were shocked by an Atlantic Coast team in the quarterfinals, and Oregon just barely valiantly fought off Virginia.
They were also very tested yesterday in the semifinal, having to go to overtime to beat Central Florida.
And those are miles that you put on the legs and miles that you put on your mind as well. Now, those games wear on you. I think we saw that in the men's second semi yesterday with North Carolina and UNC Wilmington. The men from Wilmington had needed 3 straight universe point games to get where they are. That takes a toll. Meanwhile, UNC had a much more smooth path, secure in the second halves.
But Oregon's a champion, the defending champion. They were also the runners-up in 2012. Third straight trip to the championship game for Fugue. And finally, Ohio State breaks the press on defense. Swafford forces ahead. Galetta sets up, waits for teammates. They go back to Swafford.
Ohio State's spacing in the red zone has been really impressive.
Soper sets it up. The jump toss to Swafford for the goal.
Again, the two best players connect. Soper to Swafford. You know, if Paige Soper was the Callahan nominee for Ohio State, she might have won the award too. It's not an unreasonable assertion to say these are the two best players in the country, or perhaps two of the top 5. Gutsy Scuber. Just throw it up and let 5'10" Cassie Swafford take it away.
It was Fontenot who was closest there for Oregon. She's 9 inches shorter than Swafford, despite Fontenot's heart and desire, which is as evident as anybody else on the field. Swafford's going to win that battle pretty much every time.
Kind of like Chris Paul trying to guard Kevin Durant. You know, Chris is feisty, but eventually KD is going to have his way, as he did in the Western Conference semifinals.
Soper's been busy. She had a half a dozen assists in the game yesterday in the semifinal. 2 today, 26 throughout the tournament. And Ohio State a point away from sending this one to halftime. As Oregon gets possession here, how much of a deficit is too much?
It's a really good question, and it's one that I often ask. I think an 8-4 deficit at half is not insurmountable, but 8-5 looks a lot better.
And it might just be that. It's 7-5 now as Oregon gets back into the goal, and it's Alex Odie who pulls down the disc.
And that's the type of play that could get this Oregon team going. You know, when you're a handler that loves to huck, you hit one and it gives you all sorts of confidence. It's just like a basketball player. You hit that first shot, okay, you're good. You know, Sophie Darch had a couple assists on short red zone throws, but this is really her first deep shot of the game. She saw Odie streaking deep. Just put it to space and let your deep cutters make some plays.
Games today. Later, our men's championship at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN3 as Colorado and North Carolina match up for the men's final. Mama Bird beat Oregon yesterday 15-8. UNC over UNC Wilmington 15-10. That should be a great battle in the men's championship today between Mama Bird and Darkside. Oregon trying to stay close with Ohio State here in the women's championship. Fever's led by as many as 3. Sophie Darch trying to stay loose on the sideline.
Yeah, it's funny, if you've never been to an Ultimate Tournament before and you go over to the team tent, there are all sorts of goodies on the
She's
sideline.
munching on a strawberry over there.
Strawberries, bananas, pickles, peanut butter, pretzels. You know, there's just a lot of granola is obviously popular.
We saw Denny Beaches after a goal yesterday for North Carolina men's team texting.
And then you go over to the Observer and Volunteer tent, and it's like chocolate and M&Ms and Cheez-Its and other dessert type stuff.
Yeah, well, let's send some of that up here.
I spend most of the time in the Observer tent too.
Halftime point for Ohio State.
Nice
cut. Stevie Miller. Side force being applied to Miller. She gets rid of it into traffic, and they're going to call a foul there against Casey Harris. Actually, they're going to say no foul. So Oregon moves it forward, a chance to make it a 1-goal game. Not trying to waste that opportunity was Ofterhide, and she tossed it right into the ground. Kind of a forced throw there from Gabby Ofterhide.
Freshman mistake. Support from the sidelines during these longer points in particular, so vital.
Another halftime point attempt for Ohio State. Once a team gets to 8, they take a break. Nice job reaching out there by Backus, keeping the possession alive. It's those plays that don't show up in the box score that help out, but a drop from Liz Gates sends it right back to Oregon. Schaffner pushing it ahead, side to side with Walrus. Now in a red zone chance for Oregon. Fugue slows it down and they call a timeout. You get 2 per half.
And you can tell she was thinking about the timeout call earlier, but wanted to see if anything manifested itself in transition. Nothing did. Stall count a few points higher, but now Lou Burris can diagram an offensive set here in the end zone.
We've mentioned Jessie Schaffner and her toughness to even be out there playing today. And yesterday, it was Schaffner who took a big tumble in the end zone as we see her lay out for the disc, parallel to the ground, and wham.
And it looked like she was getting up, and then it just really started to hurt. She was yelping in pain.
She was down for several minutes, actually did try to get up at one point, but tumbled back to the ground. Finally, on the second attempt, she was able to walk off on her own power, actually started to run a little bit, didn't come back into the game yesterday, but she's out there today.
But it looked like at one point she might try to come back into the game. She was running up and down the sidelines. Just when she twists and turns, that's when it stings, and the doctor said it's all about pain management right now.
Now Oregon, after the timeout, goes right to the goal line, right to Jessie Schaffner, and they pull within 1.
It really doesn't look like she's hurting very much. You gotta be kidding me, Jessie Schaffner. I mean, to design the play for her out of the timeout. And just a really good quick jab cut one way, exploding to the open side. Absolutely burning Liz Gates. Schaffner, proud Nashville, Tennessee resident.
Back-to-back goals and an opportune time for Oregon. 12th goal of the weekend for Schaffner. Haley Walrus with her 4th assist of the game. She's been effective handling the disc for Oregon when all eyes are on Sophie Darch. Haley Walrus has stepped up in this championship game as Fugue tries to win their 2nd straight title, their 3rd since 2010. And suddenly, you mentioned 8-4 at half would look like an awfully big hill to climb. But now 7-6, and Oregon could even try to tie it if they can hold their defense once again. Fugue trying to send this game to halftime, rather Fever trying to send this game to halftime. 3rd straight attempt at a halftime point. Swing it across the field. Frankie just barely able to stay in bounds. Soper being forced, she gets rid of it and gets it right back, but a diving catch needed to keep the possession alive. That could have been big for Oregon. The floating toss to the goal line. Schroeder to finish the point, and she does, to Katie Backus. And it's halftime with Ohio State nursing an 8-6 lead.
This throw from Stevie Miller is something else. Over everybody. Tremendous vision to see the open player cross field. And once you get that swing, it's a pretty easy finish to the end zone. You know, Ultimate really needs to start keeping track of hockey assists. You know, because technically, Stevie Miller doesn't get any stat credit for that. But, I mean, Stevie Miller made the play, and without that throw, they don't score and don't take half.
Women's championship game halfway through. It's been a good effort from Oregon as they try to win their second straight title. But Ohio State looking for their first in program history and an 8-6 lead over Fugue. 8-6 the lead for Ohio State at halftime over Oregon in this USA Ultimate College Women's Championship game. And we bring in the head coach of Fever, Deanna Ball. Coach, first half, you guys have the lead. How do you feel things have gone so far?
You know, we got a couple of really good breaks, and I think we got some turnovers that we didn't capitalize on. So I'm hopeful that if we can make those turns happen again, we can do a little bit better on converting those.
Coach, it's your first time in the championship game. You told me you thought there would be some jitters. How do you feel your team has handled this stage?
I think actually a little bit better than they did the first day of this tournament. I feel like we came out confident and strong in those first points.
Cassie Swafford won the Callahan Award yesterday. What does that mean to your program to have that award brought to your team?
Oh, I'm so proud of her, first of all, and she has done so much for this team and for this program. She's going to leave a legacy behind, and I think it's just pretty special.
Last thing, Coach, quick keys to the second half. What do you need to do to close this out?
We need to capitalize on those turnovers. We need to keep our pressure D up. So I think we might have fresher legs, so I'm hopeful we can do that.
Coach, good luck.
Thank you.
Deanna Ball, the head coach of Fever, as Ohio State tries to win its first championship in program history. They carry an 8-6 lead over Oregon. We take a look at the first half and how it's shaped up for Fugue, getting batted away a couple of times early, and this caused an early hole.
Well, as Coach said, there were some early Oregon mistakes, and Ohio State forced some of those mistakes and capitalized on them. Great red zone offense from Ohio State. That's really been the difference in the game so far. They've taken care of their chances when they've had them. Ohio State has been very balanced offensively and very calm near the goal line. Swinging the disc, Swafford with great field vision, hitting Liz Gates deep. And then again, circling the goal line. Paige Diddy Soper, scoobers for the goal as Cassie Swafford rises above. Sophie Darch found a rhythm late in the half to get a break back, hitting Alex Odie in the end zone. And then it was off the timeout, Walrus to Jessie Schaffner, whose performance just absolutely courageous above all. But Stevie Miller to take half, getting into Schroeder and then into the end zone for Backus.
Ohio State with all those different goal scorers, 2 for Swafford, but 7 different Fever players have gotten in the end zone for Ohio State. Walrus, the freshman, 4 assists for Oregon. 8-6, Ohio State leads halftime in the Women's Championship. Halftime at the Women's Championship game, USA Ultimate College Championships from Mason, Ohio, and Ohio State with the lead, 8-6 over Oregon, as we bring in Fugue head coach Lou Burris. And Coach, your team fell behind a little bit there in the first half, but a couple of late goals keeping it close. How do you think the second half now will look?
Great. We're pretty much exactly where we'd hoped to be going out of the first half. We wanted to play deep and play some different defensive looks and just set ourselves up to make a push in the second half.
Coach, can you take us inside the huddle during that timeout and the decision to make the play about Jessie Schaffner, who is questionable to play today?
Yeah, I mean, she's one of our great finishers, and as the game's gone on, she's been showing that she's healthy and good to go, and so it's a no-brainer.
All right, Coach, good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Lou Burris, Fugue head coach, with Oregon down 8-6 against Ohio State. Oregon trying to win their second straight championship. Second half coming up. Second half about to begin at the Women's Championship game from Mason, Ohio. And it's Ohio State with the lead, 8-6 over Oregon, as Fugue will pull to begin this second half. First to 15 is the USA Ultimate College National Champion. And for Oregon, a first half where they fell behind early, trying to win their second straight national title. A couple of goals toward the end, and Sophie Darch on the pull. The second half underway. Paige Soper flicks it forward to Stevie Miller, and now Ohio State begins their offense. They spin it deep. On the huck, Swafford with the one-handed catch. Swafford dumps it back as Ohio State looks for the first point of the second half. They reset with Harley. Harley forced it forward. Into the end zone, the point to Lauren Frankie.
Once again, Cassie Swafford will not get the goal or the assist, but she made the play of the point, going over the top with a left hand. Big huck from Stevie Miller. And read perfectly by the Callahan Award winner, Cassie Swafford. As Ohio State has been all game long, so poised near the end zone. Back in the hands of Miller, who sets up Lauren Frankie.
Oregon made a defensive adjustment. They put the 5'11" Gabby Ofterhide on Swafford, getting a height advantage. Moved into Oregon's favor against the 5'10" Swafford, but still didn't matter.
That's a tough challenge for anybody, especially a freshman. Ofterhide, a strong player, a great athlete, but she ran cross country in high school, didn't play a ton of ultimate, so she's more of a raw freshman compared to someone like Haley Walrus, who's been playing for a long time. Showed there.
Now the first possession of the second half begins for Oregon. Down 3 once again, matching their biggest deficit. Now a quick stoppage here as they're going to re-pull.
Offside's the call. You have one warning. If you go offsides again, it would be a yardage penalty.
Oh,
70 yards from the front of the end zone to the other front of the end zone, 20-yard end zone, so full field from the back pylon to the back pylon, 110. 40 yards wide, just about 13 yards less than the width of a regular football field.
Now on the pull again, Paige Soper. Give the disc to Oregon for their first possession of the second half. They need goals, they need a bunch. Darch looks for one on the hawk. Wide open, Schaffner makes the leaping grab. They flip it back to Odie. Schaffner can't get it though. And a foul called. They will grant Oregon that foul as Wetley hit Schaffner from behind.
Well, we'll see whether they'll grant it. Schaffner said she got hit on the elbow. I didn't see the contact on the elbow, maybe on the hand.
It was Anna Dorfey who actually made contact, or appeared to have made contact with Schaffner, and looks like they will grant the foul.
The observer upholds the foul.
See the contact there, hand to hand, as Schaffner went to reach back with the left hand. Dorfey's hand came from behind, and the contact was made.
Gave her a little high five.
She may not have caught it, but Dorfey did interrupt, and Schaffner will have a chance here right on the goal line after making an incredible catch to set up this potential goal. And Schaffner forces it in to Bartruth, putting Oregon on the board for the first time in this second half.
We heard what Lou Burris said. Jesse Schaffner is one of our primary finishers, and she finished this one on the throwing end this time. Bartruth, the juniors, had a nice game. Next year, it's going to be Bartruth and Schaffner's team, basically. Obviously, Haley Walrus will be a year older. Gabby Ofterhide, a year older. And Oregon still has Lou Burris. Lou Burris, believe it or not, is an 8th grade math teacher.
I believe
He's
that.
not coaching ultimate.
I do believe that.
For a long time, though, after he graduated from Carleton, he was, in his own words, a Frisbee bum. He worked at Zeke's Pizzas in Seattle, making pizzas, and worked some construction and did a variety of other odd jobs while playing elite level ultimate. He earned 1 gold medal at Club Nationals 2004 for Sockeye, then lost in the 2005 finals, retired after the 05 season. I got to watch Sockeye create a little dynasty, winning 3 out of 4 years. Seattle Sockeye also won in 06 and 2007.
His green bow tie matching his green pants. A festive Lou Burris on this championship weekend. And Fugue trying to win their 2nd straight title. Ohio State's never won a championship. They've made it to nationals 4 straight years. They've gotten better each time. Trying to put one away here today as that disc sails out of bounds. Good job by Odie to track it down and make sure that Stevie Miller didn't steal it at the edge of the goal line.
Yeah, Odie really ushered that one out of bounds. Miller might have had a play to toe tap the back end of the end zone. Oregon trying to win its 2nd straight title. It'll be the 3rd in 5 years. Meanwhile, Ohio State trying to represent for the rest of the country, aside from the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest.
It has been a domination of Western schools. Now Ohio State trying to bring one back east to the Midwest. Spinner to Harris as Oregon tries to pull within 1.
And we showed the graphic before, the last 5 champs: Oregon, Washington, UCSB, Oregon, and again UCSB. But before that, it was British Columbia. Stanford won 4 out of 5 years. Stanford Superfly has perennially been one of the strongest programs in women's ultimate. Lots of great players.
Ashley Young handling it for Oregon. Soper guarding her. They force it into traffic there. An ill-advised throw between 2 defenders, and Soper with the defensive stop for Ohio State. Galetta thought about airing it out, but had some traffic in front of her. Spin to Swafford. Flick forward to Paige Soper. And Ohio State moving the offense. Gates ahead to Backus. Backus needed to wait for teammates to catch up. A couple of fakes from Soper. Now the short throw to Harley. The cup around Harley. Side to side, and Ohio State trying to look for that 10th point. 1st to 15 to the national championship. Red zone chance. Ohio State strikes.
Frustrating defensive possession for Oregon. Doing all it can defensively, but Ohio State just carved up that zone.
They dinked and dunked all the way downfield. Liz Gates gets the goal with the assist from Swafford. 5 assists today for Cassie Swafford.
And she had, for her standards, a quiet game in the semis relative to Paige Soper, but here in the finals, you know, sometimes you win the Callahan Award and you put more pressure on yourself and it takes you out of your game, but that's not what we've seen from Cassie Swafford, number 14 in the white and red. These Fever girls just look patriotic to me.
Well, it's Memorial Day and they're wearing the red, white, and blue. Flags are at half-mast today. Cassie Swafford, the Callahan Award winner, trying to get the dual award win and national championship in the same weekend.
Last year, I think Claire Chastain was the first ever girl to win the Callahan for a team that did not make it to nationals. She was here to receive the award. She is a sensational player.
So is Sophie Darch as she looks for the goal to Bovey, but Bovey has it knocked away by Lauren Frankie. Oregon takes a chance and they turn it over.
It's funny, Lauren Frankie was quiet yesterday. but is the deep in the last back for Ohio State's defense against the Oregon offense. They love to shoot it deep. Frankie has made a number of fine plays on the back end of the field. Here we go.
The huck from Swafford too far. The wind didn't hold it up. It pushed it away from the intended target, Christy Steva. Now Fugue back to work. He needs stops and scores. As Sophie Darch zings it ahead. Now the spin to Bovey. Backhand flick goes to Walrus. She has 4 assists today. Up ahead to Darch. Red zone chance. Schaffner. Second goal today for Jessie Schaffner.
It's really hard to believe that Schaffner suffered the injury yesterday the way she's playing today. This is a nice soft backhand, or only Schaffner can catch it.
Darch has 3 assists. Schaffner with 2 goals and an assist.
Mentioned it yesterday, but Darch and Schaffner were playing high school ultimate against one another. Darch for Paideia in Atlanta. Schaffner for the University School in Nashville. And Sophie Darch really hadn't contemplated going to Oregon, but she was in Germany playing with a bunch of Oregon girls on the Junior World Games team. And as they're saying their goodbyes, they're like, well, when am I going to see you again? Well, come visit Oregon, apply to Oregon. So she applied just for fun. And then her parents said, well, let's just go out there, you'll see your friends, you'll look at the school, and that's when she fell in love with it, and that's how she became a member of the Oregon Fugue.
Darch had 6 assists yesterday. She leads the tournament in assists, and hoping to lead her team back to the national championship for the 2nd consecutive season. But Ohio State's got the lead and the disc. Swafford trying to work around Ofterheide, who's been aggressive, the freshman guarding a Callahan Award winner. Katie Backus setting up for Fever. Into traffic, it's Walrus who ends up with it. Her and Darch colliding as 2 teammates went for the disc. Walrus with the D, and hopefully both her and Darch are okay.
Nice to see both of them pop up. Awkward collision, sort of hip to hip. And this is not a soft grass surface. This turf is pretty hard.
They played on the natural thick grass up until the semifinals over at the Heritage Oak Park facility in Mason. A lot of give on that grass surface.
As the defender. Okay, yeah. As the defender, if she loses it due to ground contact, she's awarded the disc back. So you can D it, drop it, and then pick it back up.
If you lose it due to ground contact, that possession is negated. So it's not a double.
But good question.
It's going to be Oregon disc. Count of 1.
The check.
Basically here, it doesn't matter if she catches it or not on the defensive side.
Well, the observers with a fine argument. Ohio State questioning if she had possession of the disc and then turned it over immediately, then it would be Ohio State's disc again. But because you have to sustain possession through the landing to establish that possession, technically she never had it, even though she did stop the rotation.
So it basically goes down as her just batting the disc away instead of a true catch. Either way, Oregon ends up with it, and they call a timeout here as the second half rolls through. First to 15 wins the national championship. And Oregon back within 2, as this is the first of our 2 championship games today. The final match of the 2014 USA Ultimate College Championships is coming up at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Join us right here on ESPN 3 And to watch ESPN app for the men's college championship as Mama Bird from Colorado takes on North Carolina's Dark Side. And the beach ball rolling around like we're at Dodger Stadium. We take a look at our summary from this game as Oregon and Ohio State battle. 7 different Fever players have scored. Schaffner, who was injured yesterday, has come back in a big way today. And Oregon trying to keep this battle alive for the national championship.
Right now, we're basically on serve in the second half, but Ohio State up a couple of breaks.
Ohio State won the Queen City Tune-Up, the Music City Mashup, the Northwest Challenge. The only tournament they didn't win was the Florida Winter Classic when Central Florida beat them twice on the same day. Fever's only 2 losses of the year. Walrus, the freshman's had a good day. Soper on the mark. The side force from Miller. And now a stoppage of play.
Hey, Liv, come down over here and make her choose.
Lou Burris shouting out instructions as Oregon tries to hold on offense here and make it a 1-point game. They look for Darch, and Swafford picks it off in the end zone.
I don't think the Oregon thrower realized that Swafford was lurking nearby. Swafford just soared over Sophie Darch there for the D.
Soper on the huck. Has Gates. Gates makes the catch.
What a turnaround here for Ohio State. Oregon firing to the end zone, looking for Darch to get within 1. Swafford comes up with a D. After a couple throws, Paige Soper winds up and unleashes a remarkable huck. Quick dump back to Soper, and then here it comes. That is majestic. All Liz Gates had to do was go make the play.
Ohio State's lead is 3 once again. Another goal for Liz Gates today. She's had a couple. Actually 3 today, a couple in this second half. And Gates, the senior, who was one of the top goal scorers throughout this tournament, using her speed to get ahead for Ohio State. 3-goal lead is matching the longest of the day for Ohio State. Oregon just can't quite get over the hump. They pulled within 2 a couple of times, but have not gotten much closer. They move quickly here. Walrus all alone in the middle of the field. Playing catch with Darch. The flick to Schaffner. Jamming it in for the score. Alex Odie gets the goal for Oregon.
Oregon fans not giving up hope, nor should they. Schaffner, nice break. Again, it was Darch drawing the attention. That left Odie wide open in the pocket for the score.
So back to a 2-goal game, and now Oregon needs a stop. How can they get one?
Well, the most important thing is to take advantage of the stop when they get it. You know, if Ohio State is perfect the rest of the way, which I don't think they will be, they're going to win. But I think Ohio State's going to turn it over a couple of times. And really, Oregon just can't afford a mistake right now. Sophie Darch coming off the field for this deep point. She's played nearly every point. But Jessie Schaffner is going to unleash this pull. And there's no next game, obviously. It would be the 3rd in 5 years for Oregon.
All those Western schools that have won, Ohio State trying to pull the title back east.
And, you know, in the women's club division, it was Fury and Riot from San Francisco and Seattle forever. Fury had won the last 7 back in the finals last year, but under the leadership of Alex Guesquier, former Revolver coach, Scandal won it.
Paige Soper goes up and comes down with it. The point finished off to Liz Gates.
Let's make this a SportsCenter Top 10 nominee. Paige Diddy Soper. This is a superhuman sky right here for Ohio State Fever. In between 2 Oregon defenders. And the awareness and field sense to quickly get up, set the pivot foot, hit Gates to culminate the score.
Ohio State has made all the plays all weekend, all season. And now 3 points from their first national championship. You mentioned earlier that if Swafford wasn't the Callahan nominee from Ohio State, Soper would have been, and that she probably could have won too.
She certainly, you know, unquestionably, she's a top 10 player. She's probably a top 5 player. She might be the 2nd best player, and who knows? They're almost equally important to Ohio State's cause.
2 superstars certainly can help make a national champion. Ohio State has that with Swafford and Soper.
And it seems like they get along better than, you know, Shaq and Kobe.
3rd goal today for Jessie Schaffner, and Oregon's not going away.
She's not going to give up. Jessie Schaffner, the little engine that could for Oregon. Just great sense of the open space on the field, trying to fire up her team. You see more punch spikes in the men's game than the women's game. This just punctuates the importance of the next few points.
I'm down with the punch spike. I like it. After what Schaffner went through yesterday, hard to imagine she could even lift her leg that high as she punched the disc after scoring her 3rd goal today. But everything she's done today has seemed otherworldly after the incredible fall yesterday and how long she was down after.
So Darch back out there, playing D this time.
Oregon will try to force a turnover. Ohio State's been stingy with them today. Darch crowd Soper. Soper to Swafford, and down they go as Fever tries to extend their lead again. Harley in trouble. Flings it deep. And it finds a target. Liz Gates again. And now on the diving try, Soper comes up empty, and there's the break. Oregon needed, now they need to capitalize. A diving effort in the end zone comes up short. Now Oregon turns it back over. They took a big chance after short passes had been working. Fugue aired it out. You mentioned how costly it would be if Oregon couldn't take advantage. It's very costly as Liz Gates goes back to the goal line. And Fever's gonna make this one look easy.
Finally a stall count.
Swafford at the edge. Big point for Fever.
We spent so much time talking about Swafford and Soper for good reason, but Gates has made some unbelievable deep runs. And clearly more comfortable making the run than distributing. But she's calm, she's collected. She's gonna find the girl that threw her that deep shot, Cassie Swafford, and then just a basic little down and out Eska. Fundamental end zone offense. Quick little handler cut and easily beating Foley Galvin. Ohio State is 2 away.
Haven't been many non-West Coast champions, none since 2001 Georgia. A handful over the years, but Ohio State trying to add their name to that list. 2 goals from doing so. Liz Gates has scored each of the last 4 for Fever. And now Oregon, the defending champion, runners-up 2 years ago. Need to make something incredible happen. Down at the end, Darch, Bovey. And down the line for Oregon. As they try to beat a team that hasn't been beaten since January.
You can see why they haven't lost in their last 40 games. They can play underneath, they can play over the top. They play good defense and they capitalize when the other team makes a mistake. This is desperation time here for Oregon. It's often said that desperation D is the best kind of D, and Oregon needs to stop here.
Christy Stiva has the disc and a stoppage here. Paige Soper a little tied up with Sophie Darch as Walrus and Stiva debate. Now possession resumes for Fever. The backhand to Anna Dorfy. Fever 2 points from a championship. That's the hand they wanted in. Soper. Going deep, Wetley has it!
Fever beginning to taste it. This remarkable run since January without a loss. This would be the 41st consecutive win, and it would be the second win over Oregon Fugue during this streak. And Wetley, a junior at OSU, but just a first-year player for the Fever. Anna Ball said, this girl is gonna be a superstar, and if you're making plays like this in the women's championship game, you are a superstar.
And now 1 point for Ohio State and their first championship. Bethany Kaler, the injured Cincinnati native, trying to lure her team back into it, but Oregon Now needs a 5-0 run. And runs like that in situations like these are tough to come by. Possession for Fugue after the pull from Soper, a deep pull. Now Oregon from the goal line with their possession beginning. Darch on the flick ahead. The two superstar tandem that Ohio State has. It's worked for them today as Schaffner gets to the goal line, flips it in to the freshman Engstad-Lido. And there's one, but Oregon needs quite a few more.
Well, they did all they could do on that point, which is take care of the offense. Deep shot just over the outstretched arms of Gates, and then Schaffner quickly to Engstad-Lido. Now this is where Oregon needs to dig deep. They've gone on 5-0 runs before, numerous times. But not against OSU, that's the problem.
Ohio State looking for their 41st consecutive victory. An absolutely incredible effort by Schaffner today after the destructive injury that she suffered yesterday. To even play it all today shows the desire that Lou Burris has taught to his club over the years. And Schaffner, a junior, with 3 goals and 3 assists in this championship game. But now Ohio State will get possession. And if they execute, they will be national champions for the first time.
Soper, Swafford, Backus, Gates, Jenna Galetta out there as well.
It's game point. It's championship point for Ohio State. Fontenot with the mark. A brief collision, but Harley maintains possession. The bobble goes straight to Galetta. Everything turning Fever's way. Soper on the low release to Swafford, the Callahan Award winner, trying to become a national champion. Odie on the mark of Swafford. Fires ahead to Backus. The dump back to Soper, one of the top handlers in the country. Harley with the break and the catch. Now Swafford to the goal line. Ohio State, national champions for the first time.
Contrasting emotions from red to yellow.
And for Callahan Award winner Cassie Swafford, 6 assists in the game. An award-winning effort from a national champion. And Lou Burris won't let his team hang their heads in defeat.
That last point, a great example of Ohio State's unbelievable efficiency throughout the season. To win 41 games in a row, you need a level of consistency that is just hard to come by in the college game. Women's, men's, whatever. 41 straight wins, a Callahan Award, and a national championship. Congratulations to the Fever of Ohio State University.
Good game, Fugue!
Ohio State beats Oregon 15-11. Swafford and Darch embrace as Oregon heads home, runners up. for the second time in 3 years. National champions a year ago, but this year not enough to get by Fever. Ohio State wins the national title. Presented by the Discraft Ultrastar, official disc of USA Ultimate. Ask your retailer for Discraft Ultrastar. The Triple Crown Tour, America's most competitive and prestigious series of ultimate tournaments. The U.S. Open Ultimate Championships and Convention, a gathering of the international ultimate community to celebrate character, community, and competition this July 4th weekend in the Twin Cities. And by USA Ultimate, the national governing body for the sport of ultimate in the United States. To learn more about Ultimate or find out where to play in your area, visit usaultimate.org. Ohio State, a 15-11 victory over Oregon. Fever wins the national championship for the first time in program history. Our Discraft play of the game as Ohio State marches downfield. Paige Soper with the long toss and a great grab by Elaine Wetley.
One of the many spectacular grabs in the end zone for Ohio State. A championship caliber play for a first-time championship team.
We visit with the head coach of Fever, Deanna Ball, and coach, congratulations, you're national champion.
Yeah, I don't think I even believe that just yet.
What was it like rushing the field after the game and embracing all of those people behind you that you love so much?
You know, we've experienced big wins, and obviously nothing like this, and every one of them is so exciting. And I think this one I'm going to dream about for at least a month after I get some sleep. But, yeah, that was pretty amazing.
We talked earlier about Cassie Swafford, the Callahan Award winner, but I don't think this gets done without Paige Soper either.
No, it doesn't. And, you know, they put a lot of pressure on her, and after every point, I could tell she was working hard, and she was still out there every point encouraging her teammates to do the same. So I know she's tired, but they didn't wear her down enough to get her to play any less.
Coach, I know you didn't talk about the national championship back in the fall. At what point in the spring did you really start to believe that you could be here chatting with ESPN after winning a championship?
You know, when we went out to the Northwest Challenge in Seattle, we weren't sure how that was going to turn out for us, and fortunately it went really well. And I think a little bit after that we started to really believe. It's not like we didn't know, but I think after that we really started to believe that we could do something special. So we held on to that belief, and it worked out well for us.
Coach, congratulations. Go enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Deanna Ball, the head coach of Ohio State. And she's about to get the Gatorade dumped on her, it looks like, in championship winning tradition. And spill all that before they get across the field, but Deanna Ball's about to get rocked, doesn't even know it yet. There you go. Get her. She escaped the first try. You got to take it, coach. Boom. That's how it feels to win a title. As we bring in Cassie Swafford, the Callahan Award winner, unmistakable MVP of a championship-winning team. And Cassie, what was it like when you threw that last disc to win the title today?
Oh my gosh, words can't even explain it. I've dreamed of this moment, like far and away, not thinking that anything like this would ever happen. But it was more relief that it wasn't a turnover on the end zone line than it was celebration. And then I realized that was it, and then the celebration began. So it feels really, really good.
Cassie, congratulations. When did you start to believe that this was possible?
I don't know. You know, I think people in the ultimate world believed in us more than I believed in us. And that's not to say that I don't have faith in us, but I think I'm always thinking that we can do better and thinking that we can push harder. So when we went to Northwest Challenge and went undefeated, and you know, I realized this team was something special, and I realized that if we continued to work hard, that we could be here. But I never thought that in my wildest dreams we actually would be here. So
Cassie, what has Deanna Ball taught you about the sport of ultimate and about life?
Oh my gosh, she's like my mentor. She's like a second mom to me. She's a friend. She's a coach. She's so much more than a coach. She's taught us to fight no matter what. We were underdogs for a long time. We weren't getting invited to prestigious tournaments, and she just taught us to believe in ourselves and keep working hard and keep being positive no matter what. This is not a negative team. This is a very, very positive, optimistic team. So I really appreciate her outlook on life, and I think that's what's helped Fever succeed in the recent years.
And you girls get to win this championship right here in your backyard in Ohio.
Yes, we
What was
do.
it like to nail it down in the Buckeye State?
Oh, it was wonderful. We had so many fans, as you can see from the crowd. The fans were wonderful all weekend. Alumni, our men's team, our family. It was wonderful to have everybody here.
Cassie, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Cassie Swafford, 2014 Callahan Award winner and now national champion as Ohio State gets the win over Oregon 15-11 in this championship game. As we wrap things up on the women's side from Mason, Ohio, don't forget our men's championship is still to come on ESPN3 as Colorado takes on North Carolina. For Evan Lepler, I'm Wayne Randazzo saying so long from Mason High School Stadium in Mason, Ohio. The final score again, Ohio State, national champions, beating Oregon 15-11. To watch this entire game on replay, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. We thank you for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN.